Yo, what's up? What's up? Yeah, who knows? Who knows if my camera's gonna freeze this time? We don't know. My hair's getting kind of long. Hello. Birth? Birth? Good evening. Lauren, what's up? How you doing? Shokri, when's your birthday? And Jamie with the first. Polysocks, what's up? How you doing? Thank you for the birthday wishes, by the way. Oh, the subscription birthday. Oh, that's funny. You lied to me. Subscription Virgo. I love it. All right, maybe I should open some of these posts here. Man, I don't like how Discord hides usernames if I don't want it to do that. Because if I say that I'm not, usernames are truncated in streamer mode. Can I like turn that off? Because like if you get out of streamer mode, then no one knows that you're streaming either on Discord. You know what I mean? Yo, thank you. How are you doing? There's a toggle for it somewhere. Really? Really? Maybe... hide personal information, hide invite links, disable sounds notifications. Anonymize number tags. There we go. I fixed it. I fixed it. Thank you. So we don't have too many things to look at. Maybe I didn't give you guys enough heads up that we were going to be doing Discord critiques. So far, so good with the... We'll see. I feel like my webcam is definitely going to freeze. Because I think I have a mismanagement of power to my USBs ever since getting the new video card and the power supply, which is weird because there's more power now. So I don't know. Venod, hey, Venod DM, thank you for the Prime Gaming sub. Oh, do I just have generative fill now? Jade, what's up? How you doing? We're gonna get started here in a minute. Nice, Nolrim. 1920, 1080. How have you guys been? How's everyone's week been going? Yeah, the next meetup will be pretty cool. I got to figure out where that's going to be and all that stuff. 2024 now has generative fill, yeah. It's been good. Pickleball, dude, cool. Cool. First time in 8 years I've been completely obsessed with a game. Wait, what game are we talking about? Oh, BG3, yeah. Not surprised. Not surprised. Well, we got some more work coming in. Okay. Okay, we're in business then. I think it's happening. It's happening. Cool. Maybe we should we get started? Maybe I'll lower this down here a bit. Get that get your own music going. If we run out of stuff to critique, we'll just load up Unreal and start flying around. Maybe we'll work on some stuff. Let's see. Let's see. Happy birthday. Hey, Mountain King. First time chat as well. Thank you very much. How you doing? Dude, we got 38. Like, that's kind of weird. No? I mean, I don't mind the age, but it's crazy because I remember being younger and remember seeing people at 38 and going like, "Whoa. That person's 38." Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. But let's jump in. Let's see if things stay stable. If the camera freezes, I'm just going to turn it off for a little while. J Crew, hey, thank you very much. 20 months as well. My gosh. A year streak also. Thank you. Okay, first up, Remy. Bro. Hey, Curious. Good to see you. I keep forgetting to mail your thing. It's so busy over here. Worry not, it's happening. So, Remy, happy early birthday. Thank you. Newest update on my scene, trying to figure out how to fill the scene a little more, especially the road. The divider is a placeholder idea. I'm not sure about it yet. The repetition of the roof tile, wood plus the wood, is starting to feel overwhelming to me, but maybe it's because I'm staring at it all this time, or staring at it all the time. Lighting is still work in progress. Just switched to baked lighting. Not a huge fan of the mega sharp shadows. I mean, I guess the mega sharp shadows can kind of like match the style that you're going for, you know? But let's see. Let me move this. Oh, I just realized my captions. There we go. Get those captions back in there. Let's go to my camera. We'll unlock it, and I'm just gonna move it down here somewhere. Will shrink me down as well. Cool. So yeah, when we look at this scene, are these just slightly offset frame? I like this one versus this one. I think framing wise, well, I like how much more you see on the left side here, but I like the positioning of the arch. You probably just need to pull the camera back a little bit more to get that detail on the side, because right now it clips in a funny way in this shot, and then you get this tangent up here. Yeah, it's nice to be able to see the rooftop, maybe even like seeing like that's a tangent as well. So let's go with this angle for now. I'm just going to copy this image so we can get it into Photoshop here. Let me just make sure, because I was working from home today. I don't know if you guys can tell, but got a little bit of a cold. Maddie's been homesick this whole time, so. Oh, no, Ram, that is a really cool technique. Okay, so let's look at this shot. And I guess you're saying you're a little bit concerned about the amount of wood materials and like what it's doing to the overall image. I think you're all right. Oh, see, I'm getting, dude, this is so scary. I released the click. Why is this? Is that a new Photoshop thing? I have no idea. Anyways, so of course the tangents, always talk about the tangents, but otherwise, I mean, I don't see too much of a concern when it comes to what you're talking about. One thing you can do to break up the surfaces is to like start pushing on getting like some, either like a decal or some type of gradient pass on the wood. So for example, if you look, let's see if I can just, can I just grab the wood material? Let's see if I can do that. It kind of works. Oh my god. Let me turn the tolerance up just a wee bit. You can do something like that. And then I'll just deselect a little bit here. So I'll just do it to part of this, just so that I can explain. Man, I have to work so much slower because of whatever is going on with my computer. So if we copy this and paste it, so you see what we did, we've duped this all out. Let's just like add a gradient in there. Maybe through our shadows. Yeah, so just by grounding everything a little bit. Oh, we got the stones in there as well. We'll do that, and then we'll really tone it down. Maybe, whoops, maybe we'll hit the saturation and lower that also. But you can see how much that's going to add to your, you can see what it's doing on your stone as well. We'll just erase that for now. But getting that type of information in there is really going to help with grounding things, but also get you away from that feeling that you have of everything being very... Joe, my birthday's tomorrow. But I'm not streaming tomorrow, so you know. Is your birthday today? But you can see how much it grounds it, right? And like think about everywhere that it contacts. If there's opportunities to contact. Dude, happy birthday, Joe. Yeah, mine's on the 22nd, and my partner's is on the 25th. But yeah, these gradients do wonders for like pushing the visuals, just the fidelity overall. If we, let's see if I can just mask that out. Because like even on the top of this wall, you can see it doing its work. Super powerful technique. It's just adding gradients to all of the information that's there. That'll do a lot, I think. I think that'll get you away from the concern that you have. Watch out for, I'm not sure what's going on here. Might be a light map thing. This edge here is being like brighter. You seeing it here as well? Probably the best thing to do is just look at like light map only or lighting only and just see what's getting baked. You might need to have a little bit more of an accurate closed mesh to make sure that there's no light leaking through anything. It's a secondary directional. Hey, thank you for the resub, man. Gouda, what's up, man? Thank you for the birthday wishes. I'll let you think about what you've said, Gouda. You haven't focused on fixing that yet? I mean, it doesn't need to be fixed immediately. It's just something I saw sticking out. There are still ways to soften your shadows, even with mixed lighting. Should be fine. Defcon, what's up? How you doing? Argos, thank you. On the object normals painting method itself, or oh, I see what you're responding to, Sizen. But yeah, I think I don't know how much time you've been spending on this, but I think if you're in a position where you're trying to figure out what to fill the space in with, think about the things you can do with the surfaces, like maybe the edge here of the road, or maybe around this. This is a way to fill detail out without losing too much information, or like losing the calmness of the scene. You can just do some variation of like the ground itself, you know? That's one way to do it. The other thing too is I highly suggest blocking out as many of the props as you think you're gonna need, and reuse a lot of them. Like just go nuts with that if you want on reuse. But see, even doing this, where you're just breaking up the edge of the road, will go a long way. For just getting you that information. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here that I should comment on. Maybe adding a little bit more geometry so these edges don't become so hard. Like this edge here. Right there. So wherever you can see an edge, it's like something that you can clearly fix pretty easily. I would try and do a technique with the windows where the emissive that's inside, that's causing this, is parallaxed. So that way you can UV it and like you can parallax the emissive further inside and put it somewhere in here. So that way as the camera moves, you see the halo of the emissive kind of shifting. Davy Jones, what's up? How you doing? I wonder, the fact that my mouse is acting up is kind of weird. It's a sign, man. I need a new USB hub. If you guys have suggestions, just DM me on Discord. But yeah, we've ridden on this one for a little bit, so I think we will go to the next one. I don't have too much else to add onto it other than just block out all the props that you think you're gonna need. If you're not sure, block it out anyways. Just very simple shape, extremely, extremely simple, and just get it in the scene and see if it's too much. Get some references as well if you haven't already, and just make sure that you feel like everything is accounted for. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what's really gonna, like, what's in this area, what's happening. Is there any drips or discolorations that help connect surfaces together? Like this area is a big blank spot for me, and knowing what to do with it. It was the same with the road. So just those types of details and figuring out how to like kind of bring things together, material to material. Vince, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. Okay, let me clear this. Let me just invert this background. There we go. And then let's go back to Discord. I feel a little rusty. It's weird. So this one's from Ftera. Haven't done much, but how would you approach this trim or unique? I mean, both. I want to change the concept a bit so it's more, oh right, we got a concept as well. So I think what I'm seeing right now, so you've got some primitives in here. I don't know how you're structuring your project. Um, I'm trying to think here. So what I usually say is breaking down a scene so that so you understand all the props that are needed, or all the props that you think are needed are present, is the way I usually start a scene. So you break down this concept. You're like, oh, okay, I need a trash can. That trash can looks like it can be reused in a couple of spots. There's like a bigger trash bin type of situation going on back here. Maybe that's another one that you can. Yeah, because see, there's one here as well. So those are two things to block out. Then you've got some neon signs, and you've got what looks like a building setup for stalls and how they're kind of formatted. It is a little simple in its shape language, so it's something to keep in mind. There's a little puddle work going on in here as well. I am seeing was like a curb here and a curb there, so there's like this kind of walking path in here. And probably the biggest thing you'll notice is like size and scale. A lot of the times we end up making our environments really, really big, and then you have to figure out how to like fill them with stuff. Don't be afraid to like shrink things down. Make this narrower. Bring everything that's on the left side in, like narrow the streetway a bit. Or like, I don't know, it feels like scale wise, like if you see this character, the height of that character is probably sitting around here. So the height from up here to the character's head, let me see if I can just do it in Photoshop here. It's always going to be easier that way, right? So let's grab this character, and we'll keep him kind of close on the parallel. I mean, I guess if he goes down this way, he probably needs to shrink a bit. I'm going to guess that's roughly the perspective we're looking for. But if you get that sense, you can see the distance as well. If like, let's grab this. No. Let's do this. We'll just grab them. So if you've got this, right? Wait, what is happening? Oh, I'm just pasting them. Oh, this is getting weird now. Okay. So you see like the width of the street and whatnot, and then we go to your blockout. Getting that width to be accurate is going to be... I'm full steam ahead. I can see that there's possibly tiling in here, but I would definitely like, this is the next thing to do to really like push your environments, is to just lock that scale in. Like this might work. But I think it'll look stronger if you're able to actually get the scale to feel right. So it feels like it's maybe something, I don't know, it's something like that. It's a bit exaggerated as well. But that scale is going to be important. Anyways, the idea of blocking out individual assets really helps when it comes to like propping with them as individual assets. You prop in the scene, and then you can just go back to your 3D software, push the quality of that one prop, and then it just updates everywhere that it was placed. This is why I always tell people, block out all of your stuff and get it all in here. And maybe that's what you're doing. Getting it all in here and positioned so that you can figure out a scale, you can figure out how much space you have, if you have enough props before you even have to model them. They're just primitive shapes like you've been doing here. This is a really good habit that you've gotten into with this type of stuff. I just don't know how split up it is. So I'm more or less trying to make sure it's highlighted the benefit of like blocking out your 3 neon signs. Like it looks like there's 3 here, and reusing those in different ways to position throughout the environment. Yeah, concept's super foggy. I hope you have more references than the concept. I would say when you have like this concept, you grab a ton of like other references that you feel like, nope. Ton of other references It doesn't have to be real life. It could be other concepts as well. But just lots of things that help you understand the scene you're looking at. Like all of these props, you should find concepts or real life reference of these trash bins, of what how neon signs are built. Pinterest for sure will give you all that good stuff. How are curbs shaped? How do curb tiles break? There's like a sewer drain here, a manhole that's here. What is this thing? If you can identify something, like there's a TV back here, identifying these props and getting as many references as you can of those will help immensely for helping you figure out how things are built, put together, and then you start replicating things even more and more accurately. See, this beam as well is really small, and in your scene it's huge. It's like this diameter of the torso here, of the waistline. Yeah, so it's just these details to keep in mind while you're blocking stuff out. Like there's some hanging stuff here. This angle here goes across and cuts the scene, whereas I think in yours, you've kind of replicated this shape here. And I think that's more of it's a stylistic choice, right? By going up here, it allows overhangs that are over these stalls to come further out. So there's something like that as well to think about. You got until October 30th. It's from the ArtStation Challenge. Oh, okay, so you're doing the ArtStation Challenge. But yeah, I would say you should be able to do this scene with like including the wall pieces if you plan it well. 30 props maybe. Not all uniquely baked. Wherever you can get away with it, trim sheets is going to help a ton. And yeah, that'll allow for you to spend more time on the overall composition. But yeah, if I had to guess, between 20 and 30 props is all you need. And some of those could be from other sources, right? Because I think you can do that in the challenge, can't you? You have yet to pull the trigger, but you want to do the challenge as well? Dude, I feel you. But yeah. Scale the scene down. Like dimensionally. You can still represent the whole scale of the space. Just shrink it. Your streets are too wide, which is making areas feel empty when they don't need to be empty. Or that's not the intention, you know what I mean? But I'm excited to see where you take this. All of your stuff has been getting better and better each time you post something. So it's been fun to watch. Okay. Zambar. So you've got this brick material. So I'm not a material artist, of course, but maybe I can talk about presentation and what I'm seeing here as well. So you did this in 2 hours. Don't know if I should be showing something like this in my portfolio. I mean, why not? I'm gonna go glance at your portfolio real quick. Yeah, show it in your portfolio. You're growing. You're a junior 3D environment artist. As things get better, you can choose to take stuff down, but don't be shy to just put stuff on your ArtStation. I think people are too precious about how their ArtStation presents them that they develop this fear of posting. But we're all a work in progress, so just keep going. So material-wise, this looks pretty cool. I would say there's a bit of stretching that's happening on the underside of this, and it's likely to do with, you can see the displacement difference between here and here. If you want to be stretching it that much further out, just make sure that you're blurring the edge of your bricks a little bit more. That way there's more fall off. Joel, how you doing, man? I'm trying really hard not to sneeze right now. But presentation-wise, I like how you're presenting everything. I would be careful with the blowout of pixels. So you want to avoid chromatic aberration. just because everyone overdoes it all the time. So you can see the banding of colors here. It's always overemphasized. You want it just barely noticeable, if almost not noticeable at all. The next thing I would say is figuring out, like, I like that you have a highlight, like an edge highlight here. You need some area where it's a little bit darker. There's also some weird aliasing when in the blowout area. I mean, I think that's just a chromatic aberration happening. But yeah, let's bring that over here so we can just look at this. So one thing you want to do is we want to make sure that we don't have super white pixels and that we don't have super black pixels. Let me just run a levels check on this. Yeah, so basically where it's black, it's too dark, and where it's blue, it's too bright. Right? So you want to balance that. Let's delete that and let's look at some other presentation stuff. So for sure you want to be getting some more range in there. You can see there's a steep drop here in your dark to light. So there's not really any areas where you're bringing in darker values. I wonder if I can just like simulate that. We can do that and maybe lower the saturation so it's not so intense. Of course, where you're doing this should be on like the opposite side. Like most people put their highlight here. So if we think about this as a sphere, most people put their highlight here, like their brightest point, which isn't white, of course, and then their darkest areas down here. And then they do like a nice fall off between the two, you know? So you get that going, and then you do the rim light that you're doing from here. So you get a little highlight there. This gives us a good understanding of like how your material reacts to lighting, what your displacement looks like at extreme angles, and just how the surface reacts to lighting. Just like the logo for the club. Yeah, it's true. The other thing I would say is making sure your background is not blank. It does help that you have like a gradient in the background. My favorite thing is to just like, let me see if I can grab it, but I have a feeling it's going to be a little difficult. My favorite thing to do is to just get the sphere and then separate it from the background. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. And then duplicate the sphere, like scaled up quite big and then blurred out and dark, just so that you have some similar color information happening in the background. I have a YouTube video on that if anyone wants to link that. That'll give you a better presentation overall. Otherwise, I would say, if we go back to this render looks good, but it's quite noisy around the edges of the brick themselves. I would be careful with the strength of that type of information. So maybe toning that down. You can see it gets really extreme around the edges. I like how you're presenting your maps and showing your substance graph. So it's just more, and I really like the character that you have going on with the bricks and the edges kind of being a little bit more chipped. Getting some more character in the grout between the stones will probably help pushing that kind of style that you're going for. And yeah, be careful with the highlights and focus on the material type in your roughness, because I think your roughness is probably where you can improve the most. Your albedo as well has some lighting information in it that you probably want to avoid doing. You want to do all of your lighting through actual displacement, the casting of a real-time light, and then how the surfaces react to a light source. So through your roughness, that'll really push your surfaces that much further. And whenever there's lighting information in your albedo, it's going to kind of break the illusion. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to hop to the next one, which is this Havoc Spikes Tactical. This attachment I made for Duard. Oh yeah, AAA. Dude, nice. This I know this name. Looks pretty cool. Ooh. Ooh. That animation's hilarious, and the end point where you realize the guy has no pants on. You're like, it does look like you spent a lot of time on the who needs pants when you've got a Havoc sideloader. I mean, this looks really cool. Detail wise, when you get really close to it, it looks really, really nice. Some nice definition. Edge wear is not like too crazy. The bevels are really tight. Maybe it could benefit from being just a little bit looser. If Defcon was in here, I'm sure he'd have something to say. Man, this render looks really good, though. Wow. Interesting. The table of physics feel off. This is pretty cool, though. I like it. I guess if I had to comment on anything, maybe some material variation. Or like, I'm not sure what the inside of this is supposed to look like, but I imagine this could be more accurate, is my guess. You'd have a bigger edge high poly. Yeah, you're talking about on the bevel here. Just to get those bevels a little bit wider. Like this bevel here feels too wide to me, and these feel okay. This feels too narrow to me, because you can even see in the way that ArtStation's rendering it on the website, it's very like aliased. So Defcon's got some comments. Would add more color variation, breaking the edge highlight / wear, and more storytelling with the localized edge wear. Roughness looks good. Yeah, I think the roughness is what's making this render look so nice. But yeah, storytelling and color variation, even on such small elements. I mean, I guess this is storytelling. Dude, when it clicks back into place, that click, there's such a nice like spring back. It's pretty slick. This is really cool. I'm not sure why you're not using this wood material for the backdrop. Yeah, you know an animation is good, Vince, when you can hear it. When you hear it, you're like, yo, that's kind of crazy. Same with VFX. Yeah, true. Okay. Let's jump to the next one. Which, oh man. Dude, this is getting crazy. Hang on, let me make sure I'm seeing this correctly. So, I don't know how I'm supposed to critique this one, because it's like a thread linked. So this was made originally in 3D for 3D printing. I remember this scene. I'll just drag it over here so you can see. Let's see if we can do this. So this is like what, the end of last month, right? It's a lot of really crazy things happening with this. Some mesh close-ups. You can probably go higher poly with this, and it's totally fine. Like if you're planning to have this modeled and have that depth, like I would just go for it. Like double that poly count. It's fine. I love this like miniaturized state of the of the building. It's like this little like tiny house. So it's 100K total, the whole thing with all the details. So that's pretty low, I'm gonna be honest. Like if I look at this, I would expect this to be like 200K. You could double it and it would be fine. But I like the fact that you're breaking down materials and how you plan to figure this out. The color choice between the text and the color in the background's pretty intense. Double it and give it to the next person. Nice swath. Mesh close-ups. I guess if you're not planning to show it this close, I would just want to see it without the wireframe, just to see what we're looking at. Because see, right now it looks very busy, but I think if rendered up close, or if the camera's up close, then you're not getting any of the aliasing. Yeah, these look like okay. As pretty good. It does get a little angular, so watch out for those. It's not worth the loss of geometry. I need to change this song. Oh no! What have I done? Hang on. Panicking. I'm panicking. Other videos close up. Oh my gosh. Chaos. Chaos in the streets. Yeah, so like this one's a close-up. See, and I'm like, get those cast shadows, get this into Unreal. It's just going to show so much better for like viewing the details and how they read. The material that you also have on there, man, that looks great. The materials that you have on there right now are so bright that it's hard to read the information. So usually when you're just looking at bakes, you want to go for that mid-gray, maybe a little bit darker, and then like a 0.7 or a 0.6 in your roughness, just to see how the highlights kind of run across the surfaces. It's going to go a long ways. But this is really cool. These bakes look good. Lots of stuff to fix. There's always stuff to fix forever and ever. This is really cool. I'm really curious to see this in engine and like when you start doing your texture pass. Yeah, decimation for something like this I think makes sense to a certain degree. That's totally fine. As long as it doesn't look brutal, right? You want to go for end result and like a poly count that you're comfortable with. I think you could add 50 to 100,000 more, and that's acceptable. Especially considering where it goes. Like maybe the windows up above don't go as maybe increase like 20%, but then the details down below increase like 50%, for example. UVs look pretty good. And that's interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some material work on this because that's when the elements are really going to start to pop. Just getting some like grimy dirtiness in the little crevices of like all this work that you put in, all this modeling. It's really cool to see. It's really nice. Originally for 3D printing. The UVs of all the ornaments are instants, but the results are unique. It's likely I'll redo the non-ornate surfaces with trim sheets for more textile density. Yep, makes sense. But for now, I'm going to work on it as is. My main question regarding this is about composition, colors, and textures, and how to proceed. Should I keep working on tests with flat colors? And I would get flat colors in there, get your ambient occlusion in, and a roughness that makes sense to you, and like just like a simple dirty pass of like getting stuff in the grimy crevices. Combine that with the roughness that would interpolate between those two, where it's like grimy and crusty, it's like more rough, and then the rest is less rough. Keeping it really simple, getting that into Unreal, and then just throwing a light on just to see how the surfaces are responding. I think that's where I would head to next. And yeah, trim sheets I think is a good call as well. For something of that scale also, you probably, for each of the pieces, like if we're looking at this one, for example, let's say this upper window thing here with all the details, this is probably going to look best if you do a unique normal bake of 2K and then a 1K mask or a 2K mask just for the resolution. You could do some shader tricks if you want to lower the mask resolution, but packed masks are going to be the way you're going to get any extra detail out of this. And then utilize a lot of gradients through like other masks to just kind of like add gradient information, or like darker colors at the bottom, lighter at the top, crevice details, edge details. Those are all masked, and I would just do a lot of the work through the shader. And then if you use tileable materials, you're going to get a huge increase in quality, because let's say you have a 1024 and then you tile it twice. Now you're looking at 2K. Visual, thank you. And, tiling it twice, you're going to get 2K res. Tile it 4 times, it's going to start looking CGI in the resolution that's being rendered. So I highly advise 4 tileable materials that you can reuse. And then all of this like unique information is happening through masks to get that variation in the roughness and the albedo. Really nice stuff. Was that Vladislav? Also, Moshi. Did Mario inspire that mustache? Dude, I inspired Mario, even though he existed before me. Chicken egg scenario. It's true. So this piece, would love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm close to finishing it. Finishing this project, so any feedback on it would be improved. That could be improved would be very helpful. Wow, my brain is shutting down or something. The goal is to demonstrate sculpting skills and the ability to match the concept as closely as possible. Original concept link. Wait, did I miss your... Is this your post? This is your post. I'm so confused. The way the posts came in made it look like that was an image preview of the link. So yours looks pretty good. I think the thing that's really sticking out as like quality is the grass. There's some nice grass work going on here. It's pretty spot on. Let's see if we can isolate anything to improve things. Oh man, that resolution though. That's kind of crazy, huh? Wow, that's... What? Interesting. That's kind of disturbing. So I think it's matched so closely because the concept likely started as 3D. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's get a mask on here, and let's isolate some things. I'm just gonna do something like that. Let's do this as well. We'll just invert that. And what we want to pay attention to is the warmth difference. That's the first thing I'm kind of picking up on. The other thing I'm picking up on is surface detail versus like your rendition of it. So if we go for temperature differences, I'm just going to dupe yours real quick, and then we're going to go and kind of just let's do a camera raw, and I'll try this first and see what we get out of this. So just by, am I not previewing this? What is happening? Okay, cool. So I think by increasing the warmth of this, we're already kind of getting closer to it. I don't know if you can see the difference now. So yours is very cold, very blue. I don't think it had live preview, but maybe, and it got turned off or something. So you can see now it's like, you could argue maybe ours is a little bit too yellow now, but to me, that's the difference. Probably the biggest difference. Yeah. So outside of that, because like, see the color of the grass? We're getting much closer with this adjustment. The next thing I would say, let's do a little like sample of this face as well. Maybe maybe like this direction. So we've got your model, right? And of course, the color adjustment we did doesn't really help in this scenario. So I think there's going to be some adjustments you're going to have to do depending on certain elements. So yeah, the lineup is kind of crazy. we will admit that right away. The stuff that I would highlight is, so you want to warm your light up, kind of remove a lot of the blues from your directional light. That will help get you closer to this kind of this color with the grass. Now with this one, I would say the light is now more accurate if we're matching the grass color and all that stuff. And now it's a matter of how do we correct this part. Let me just see if we can shift this around. And maybe it's saturation. Interesting. So if your grass stays quite saturated and whatever this stuff is carved out of, like identifying what this material is going to help you get this look to match a little bit closer. The other thing too is you'll notice, I think if we turn this off, you'll notice that and I'll disable this so we can go between the two. You'll notice in your shadows, like if we eye drop here and we just kind of lay this color out and we hide these, you can see the color difference between yours and the backdrop. Maybe I should be doing it to your original. See the temperature difference between these two. So getting those to line up is going to help a lot. The other thing I was going to mention is like your ambient is quite dark. So like if we go in here, even in the darkest areas of your scene, so like this is the inside of the nostril, right? Of course, the concept doesn't have that, but the darkest areas in the concept are somewhere around here, right? And in these like ambiently filled shadows, you're getting an even lighter value. So you can see bringing up your shadows so they're not so dark. And maybe it's just a matter of like bringing up the fill light or the ambient light is gonna do the trick. Let's delete that. And then the last thing I probably wanted to mention was if we dupe this again, the normal information that you're putting on the surfaces that add these large cracks. Those are okay. I would say these are like macro information. What you want to try and do is tone it down whenever possible in the rest of the surface, and let the surface breathe as like more of a flat surface with maybe porous attributes. So less contrast in it will lead to a smoother surface. I guess structurally, you're also seeing some brick pattern or stonework pattern in the concept, and that seems to be missing from your scene. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe toning down the normal noise on the flatter surfaces and bringing up your shadows so they're not so dark, filling them with a color that's closer to the concept, bringing that saturation of the grass up to this kind of green, and then figuring out how to get the color differences between all of your surfaces to match with the temperature of the lighting. I think that'll do a lot. Because, like, for example, it feels like you didn't really know what to do back here because the concept doesn't really tell you, right? I think instead of just letting it be a wall, do what you're doing here, and then bring in a few trees and push those colors to be close to the concept, and give those trees that bring them closer than the wall, and you'll get a lot more depth, and you'll get these nice like shadows just automatically. But yeah, the colors of these are very different from like I can't just go in and change the temperature of your render, you know? Otherwise, I mean, it's really crazy like how close you've gotten this. But you can see what I mean. It's more about the temperature of the light. Yeah, it's a lot of material tweaking and warming up the light source. I think that's the main key or main point to like push it. Like you can see the color, the average color you get here, and then with yours, there's a lot of like darker noise happening in here. Let that noise happen up here with the leaves and stuff, and let it smooth itself out. Less contrast, and that'll be a huge gain. I would love to see this pose, but either way, I like the pose you have now as well. Maybe a sword or something like that, or guns. Yes, DEFCON, or guns. Really cool though, and I love the amount of character you did with the grass. Maybe to me this would make for a more interesting environment, but you can see there's water here, right? And I can see water in yours, but the grass really takes over here. And I think in the concept, the grass gets quite thin around this area. I think if you thinned your grass out a little bit more and you just let that theme kind of, like right now, the grass cuts the composition in half, right? You don't feel like you have a pathway here. If you make it feel like there's a path, that'll probably be the biggest improvement when it comes to the actual like not material rework, not relighting, but like just the general composition of the scene will strengthen because now I have a clear path. Because you see what's happening in the concept is these stones are being used to lead you, and you lose that in yours. Just shorten the grass a little bit in that path, and you're golden. It's my birthday tomorrow, Diamond, but I won't be streaming tomorrow, so you know. Sure. Sure. It'll be 38. Same day? Really, Diamond? I didn't know that. Anyways, really nice scene. Really, really nice scene. Next up, we got a really interesting one. We got a Sketchfab post. My God, Sketchfab needs a dark mode. Is there a dark mode for Sketchfab, anyone? Hello, I'm almost done with my project. Medieval door and a Lynx door knocker. Love it already. It's for my junior portfolio. What should I improve? It is also on Sketchfab. It's a Sketchfab link. For the door knocker. Oh, there's another link for the door knocker. So, force dark mode. Oh, that's awesome. So, right off the bat, this looks pretty cool. It's definitely got a style to it. Maybe we can look at the links as well. Okay. Now that we're looking at both of these, there's a definite contrast difference between these two. And I prefer this one. This one's much easier to look at. It's easier to process what you're seeing. So one of the nice things about using Sketchfab is we can just go and look at your base color. Like, look at that, dude. That's a freaking concept. That feels like concept art. So, metalness, there's no metalness in there. Is this supposed to be metal? I feel like this should be metal. If there were elements of metal in here, that would be huge. That would push this so much further. Just this ring. Just getting the ring to be metal in its attributes would go a long ways. So right now there's no metalness in here. Roughness, the way we're looking at roughness. So this is interesting. The way you're using your roughness is almost like what you want us to focus on, what you want attention on. Can I just I always forget there it is. Alt left click. So there's no harsh extreme. I mean, this thing is extremely high res. No post-processing. You can probably get this look without going so high res. Final. I mean, ayo. Ayo. So with your ambient occlusion, I'd probably tune it a little bit. Let's screen grab this. And I'll just paste it in here. So if we look at the ambient occlusion, this is probably for games. This is probably what you want to do. You probably want your AO to be somewhere around there. Like, there shouldn't be really any AO in the face, but in like the little crevices in the mouth, I mean, even back here, it starts to be a little questionable. In the ear is good. But you have to remember that when you're adding ambient occlusion, when the object is in shadow, it becomes that much darker automatically. So wherever you don't want it to like change value of its actual material and just be in shadow, you would want those pixels to be white in your ambient occlusion. So in here, I wouldn't say there's really any lighting in this, because you can see the difference when we go to like the final render, how much the lighting kicks in. So I think you're okay there. Roughness wise, I think this is more stylistic than like the actual material. Like if this is like, I don't know what this is made out of. Let's assume stone, or like let's say stone. These lines are only going to be different roughness wise if it was a different material or polished in a certain way. So generally speaking, these, I don't know, the roughness wouldn't read like that, I guess. Also the greenish effect that you've got going on here. Oh, this looks like marble. This is marble, isn't it? But there's like a green stuff going on here, which to me is like a patina effect that happens if it's copper. So there's a little bit of a confusion on understanding what the material might be made out of. It's extremely high res. If we go to the door now, so when we look at the door, what I want to say with this one is kind of what Nolran was saying about the other one, which I think is more prominent here. So if we go to the base color here, you can see how dark it gets in the albedo. This darkness, it shouldn't get that dark. Maybe half of that. Because what you want to be showing is the interaction between the two materials, but not necessarily lighting in the albedo between those two materials. Yeah, and your roughness here again is like, the roughness looks all right. What I'm not seeing is interaction between the materials. Your metalness, I would just make this black and white. So like all of this information should just be white. Let's look at your AO. AO looks all right. It's that kind of problem where like most of the ambient occlusion shouldn't be there. And it like the most it should be around is like around the edge here and maybe around the lynx head. Like for example, you've got all this information happening here. This is a good use of AO. It's very flat. There's not much going on there. It still has some type of information, so this would to me would be white. I wonder if we can screen grab this one and do the same thing here. Yeah, you'd want it maybe something like that for your AO. Like you're not getting any AO on this edge here, which is kind of strange, but I guess that's because they're being baked separately. Hey, Suspicious, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm digging it. It's just the contrast here. Like that'll huge difference if you lower the contrast in your texture. Like pull that darkness up to like half of what it is right now, and it'll still benefit the scene, but make the links pop out. The other thing too is like, what do you want us to focus on? Do you want us to focus on the door, the lynx head, or the handle? Because right now the brightest thing is the handle. And so maybe these highlights need to be subdued. That way we're really focusing here, you know? Yeah, the other shape language we got going on here. So there's a lot of work that went into this lynx head. And all of this detail here should really be replicated along these, just for consistency. Even if it's not pushed this far, just the shape language needs to be similar. It does feel like right now they're from two different scenes. So something to think about. But this is really sick. This on its own is really cool. It's really, really cool. The other thing you might want to think about is taking this element and bringing it further out, because when you actually use a door knocker, it's supposed to hit a thing. So showing like what it actually hits would be really good. It's usually like a spherical shape. Really nice. Super nice stuff. Thank you for sharing. When people share stuff in here that are nomad, I give them a community tag, which will have more value shortly. You'll see. But really, really nice stuff. There's some renders in here as well. Let's see if we can just like see in this render, the contrast is, I would say it's still too dark in here. You want to make sure that's not too dark, but the attention is different on like what we focus on. So that's really nice. Man, the resolution is like through the roof. I can feel it. Oh, Diamond. Hey, thank you. With the 5 gifted, you're a madman. Diamond, what are you doing giving money away on your birthday? Well, I guess it's tomorrow, right? But yeah, thank you, Diamond. If you got a gifted sub from Diamond, make sure to thank him. Let's look at Rex. Let me know if I skip you, by the way. That happens from time to time. I get excited clicking around on stuff and then like realize like, oh right, yeah, I forgot. So Rex, happy early birthday. Thank you, sir. Thank you. With the release of Starfield, it made me want to do more interiors of a spaceship. I'm in the process of doing my first pass on texturing and finishing up modeling and placing some things. What do you think I should spend more time on to improve? Any tips and critiques? It's welcome as always. I'd also like to know what you do when you feel like you're not moving forward with the project. Oh man. I'm feeling that now with the temple scene, which I guess all you gotta do is come up with a plan for like biggest bang for your buck, if you want to say it like that. Like, what's the single thing I can do to make me move as far forward as possible? That's the thing you do. And when you do it, you will notice a huge move forward in quality. And the other thing too is take a break. Maybe you need to take a break. Sometimes that's the thing, you know. Let's look around on this ship of yours. So it does feel, or just plow through it. It does feel like, what the heck is this song? Weird. Man, some of this music's really strange. Anyways, yes. So this does all feel like you're on some type of mechanically built sci-fi-esque scene or like location. I think when it comes down to how to improve on this type of stuff, right now, my gut feeling is you've bit off more than you can chew. Not that you're not capable of doing this, but it's the amount of time that it's going to take to push all of this. How do you do that? You know what I mean? I think if you were to take one area and focus on it. No, there's no music on. I'm hearing music, but I leave it blank so that you guys can enjoy your own music. I should probably not comment on the music I'm listening to that you can't hear because that's likely a little confusing. Or maybe I'm crazy. Maybe that's what's happening. Keep it simple, sir. Nice. I mean, yes, that as well. Crazy. You haven't seen Crazy. So what I would say is you're already kind of doing it when you take screenshots, is you're finding areas that are interesting to focus on. My 2 favorite things are this shot, because you can make a space really personable or personal based on where someone sleeps or where they live, right? So like the bed area and like what's around their bed, how they make it their own. There's a lot you can do character-wise there. The next thing is an area that's like a kitchen. So focusing on this area with either these lockers or showers or what have you here, I would boil it down to one of these shots and then forget the rest or come back to it later. Hey, Kono, no problem. Thank you for posting your work. I hope to see more from you. So, yeah, so what I would do is de-scope. So we take the scope of what you've planned. let's shrink it down and really like basically distill your creative powers into one location, and that'll allow everything to just turn up so much more. Not mine, it's for my girlfriend. She can't log into Discord. Oh no. Oh man. Well, have her make a new account. She can join us. Twitch, my bad. Oh, okay. Okay. She doesn't need to make a new Twitch account. It's fine. But yeah, if you can distill everything down to the smallest area possible, it will increase the quality of the stuff that you do focus on, because your focus gets spread out less, right? This is what every mentorship I've ever been a part of is like, how do we do more with less? And it's like that in work as well. It's like every job I've ever been a part of is like that. Would you descope because they mentioned not wanting to move forward, or is this scene just too big? This scene is very big. I am reading into the comment a little bit, but even if that comment wasn't said, I would be like, when are you planning to finish this? Because this looks like it could take a while. I personally will find a single spot as well just as intriguing or engaging as an entire scene. So why not work on something a little bit smaller, right? That being said, this is looking pretty cool. I would say for improvements, looking at design, the form over form and function, you know, where like, how are things beveled? How, like, what is angular and what is rounded? How are those put together in real life? Or how do you see that when you look at things that are from like the International Space Station or any other references that you can find? Star Citizen, I suppose you could look at it just to see how they're doing their shape language, but having consistency over that, as well as getting away from like, where are we at here? Let me find a good example of this. So this here is basically just a U shape that's thickened, and then the edge is beveled at the top to give you that kind of 45-degree bevel. That's quite big, right? So that shape language is quite simple. So you can kind of reverse build that in your mind. And it kind of goes the same with the shape language here. Why is this shaped this way, right? Why are the vents beveled on the corners? We don't do that in real life. But then we do these like pill-shaped design. There's a reason that it's pill-shaped in like the way that stuff is built in real life. And I believe it has to do with just structural integrity. So if there's not a reason to do it, just leaving it simple also works. And finding references that you look back to help you understand how you want to build something is the key to like really pushing the visuals to be as realistic as possible. So it looks like there's just a lot to do. Overall, I find the space is quite interesting. If you were to do the entire scene, that's totally fine. I think when you look at the floors and the ceilings, they're very simplified. And like, especially when you look like down the hall, if I were to be walking in this space, I think this seam I would want on the sides so that functionally there's not too much to possibly trip on. Yeah. Also, look at your materials. This material up here, I'm not too familiar with, but I kind of feel like I know what you're trying to do. These colors feel a little desaturated. The strip, like the line pattern here, is strange that it has a normal map to it. I wouldn't have a normal on that at all. Maybe a reflective difference. But, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot to chew on here. So I'm trying to figure out how to best help you improve. And I think it's descoping. If it was a space station, would they be tripping or just floating over it? I mean, that's a question as well. Because like when you see this, it looks like there's hooks. So this could be technically upside down. But when I look at this, there's no... We figured out gravity in space because the pillows, the way everything's laying on the ground, there are these cables in case like something happens and stuff starts flying everywhere, you do want to think about where hooks are at, just in case you need to hook onto something, in case like gravity fails. Those types of function. But as far as you're approaching the modularity of this space, it's pretty cool. Pelos, you betrayed me. Yeah, so I mean, I'd be curious to see where things are going and what you want to focus on, Rex. But overall, it's looking interesting. There's all these little like small things that I was pointing out. It's a big scene, man. Big scene. What time is this? 9:22? Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's closed, but it's likely closed. All right, what are we looking at here? What is like double? Did I just double click the? Oh, I see what's going on here. Discord made it look like don't know what I'm doing. Man, that's cool. Oh, Rex, we all have that problem. Oh, I'm just gonna make this little thing, and then it's just like, whoa, and a whole universe is born. So, overall, this is pretty cool. I like the variety that's going on here. So, let's see what you wrote, Yanni. Found this nice looking street in Google Street View a while ago. I love overgrown yellow buildings. Reminds me of Uncharted. Reminds me of Uncharted as well. For now, I've created modules and placed them around. I've taken a break from the scene, but I've returned to it, and I need to practice for my upcoming art test. Upcoming art test. Interesting. Let's kind of break this down a little bit. So overall, I like what you're doing, their modularity and the like the variety between everything. I think I would take the cloth pieces and give them some different colors just to get that variety. Because that's, to me, that's a lot of Uncharted as well as like a lot of the variety that you get in your surfaces. Jade. No, you're not alone in that, Rex. I mean, I think the thing that's letting you down the most in the scene is your foliage. Just because you see a lot of the planarness of it. Like you see the planes and how they're kind of formatted. And I think adding more in there and more that are like, instead of the plane being like angled at you, get some that face the camera just to give you that, that volume. Understanding where things are coming from. Let me see if I can. You can see there's a lot of vine work happening here. A lot of cables and splines and whatnot. Getting that information, you have it in the telephone wires, in the power lines, but I think pushing that from the foliage would go a long ways. Again, this is a huge scene as well. Did you make the vehicles, or did you go in and like swap them with like vehicles that you found online? Because what you probably want to do is just get some random color variation on these. It's the same with the clothing that's up here. There's some weird like splotchiness to some of the surfaces. And right now everything feels very similar in its roughness. You're going to want to get some variation in things that are plastic, more reflective, or like really rough, like stone. Like down below is going to be pretty rough, and then it's like some of the other surfaces could be a little bit more reflective. Vehicles are from the Unreal Marketplace. Nice. Yeah, just getting some color variation on them is going to help a lot. Because you have there's a pretty decent amount of color variation happening throughout here. And then you feel that it just hasn't happened yet with like the clothing and like some of the window stuff that's down here. It's like, I guess these need to be separated out material wise just so that you can get that look. Like the wire here needs to be separated to its own material so you can get some metalness on there. And let me see if I can. Yeah. Man, it's even like there's like a fence behind whatever is like layered on top of this. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot happening. Something that would probably help you. I don't know if you're doing it already. Let me see here. So see, you have the AC unit. I see it over and over again. It's this one. You probably need. You could do that AC unit. Then the back side of it, make it this grilled version, and then you need like maybe these two smaller props that are here, and then you can use those in combination, rotated, flipped backwards, or like positioned differently, all over the place, and it'll all of a sudden feel much more natural. But it looks like you're just in the midst of starting to get into the material work. So look at your foliage and really push your materials to try and get that kind of the grittiness and the interaction between the surfaces, as well as their roughness differences, so that we understand what's metal, what's fabric, what's fabric and cloth, what's concrete, what's damp, wet, all these different surfaces, what's glass. That's going to go a long way, but you're like super on the right track. And it's just a matter of like turning those details up as you go. Feels good. Super impressed as well. The amount of work that's here and that you were able to replicate. But yeah, let me know if you have other questions. It's really nice. All right, Alessandro. Happy birthday, everyone. Hey, everyone, it's our birthday. Love it. Here's a scene my girlfriend has been working on. This is work in progress, but she would like to have some feedback. Oh, she should join the Discord. There's gnomes and people that love mushrooms. Her name's Melissa. You should join. Either way, this looks cool. This is an original creation based off of Gravity Falls show. I see it. Really cool. So there's a bit of a stylistic approach to this, right? So the things that I really like about this is you can feel that the smoke, this kind of smoky stuff coming out of the ground, is actually coming out of the pattern, which is really cool. I think if you could take the smoke and add like a gradient of emissive in it that kind of like looks like it's filling the smoke, that would go a long ways. I'm not sure what this material down here is made out of. So something to help us understand what this material is supposed to be would be good. It might just have to do with the roughness that it is, because it looks like a lot of the materials are quite simple for the style choice, right? That is awesome. I think while you have like, let me see if I can grab this here. I'll just grab the top part of this frame and bring it into this shot here. So you have a bit of definition happening. I like the rim highlight that you have going on with the way that you either have the shader going or that you've duplicated a mesh and scaled it out and inverted the normals or whatnot. I'm not sure how you're approaching it. Either way, there's some definition that's missing, I feel. Let's see if I can grab this. This lasso tool got worse somehow. Like, I don't understand. Is that really it? Did I have to turn the object finder on? Weird. Anyways, I copied it, duplicated it a little bit. I'm just going to bring the brightness up so that we can see some information. So I think actually what the problem is just the material is too dark. So you end up losing a lot of that information. And it's just, you know, being able to define the top of the hat, any extra lighting that's happening in the scene, just highlighting and helping us understand the surface. I think if there's anything else we could add to like really push the look and feel of this. So a lot of the like cell shading is going on here, right? Or the perceived cell shading. I like how it's irregular in its thickness. I don't know if there's the intention to make it look sketched or to be like inked outlines. If it's inked outlines, I think we leave it as is. I think getting some actual smoke could be a nice touch, but I think it depends on the style you're going for. But I think the only thing that's really missing from here is a bit of the definition in the darker materials and then understanding the surface down here. For the style, I think it's working already. So it's just a matter of bringing those up, then polishing those a bit. And when you look at the book, there's a very different style going on. Like you see this line language that's happening in the pages. I don't know if the cartoon originally does that, but keeping that in mind for like if there's anything you can do in the materials of the character to push that kind of same shape language, that brings consistency to the entire scene. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's looking cool. Trying to see if there's anything else I can. Maybe the hat's a little high, but I don't know. I don't know that character. So I'm just looking purely off of like framing. But yeah, really cool. Really, really cool. If you have other questions, join the Discord, drop this in critiques, and I guarantee you'll get someone to react. And they'll be constructive. Okay, let's bring this over here. We gotta look at oh, I guess when I full screen. So this looks really cool. Looks really cool. Hang on, guys. 2 seconds. I'm gonna switch to, where am I switching to? This one? There we go. Be right back. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Hello. Back to it. Okay. Sorry. I'm back. So, we were looking at this mech. This looks pretty cool, Matthew. Pretty nice design. It's a little, maybe pushing it back a little bit further for this kind of render. But Matthew's saying, finally done with the texturing. Yes, I know it took a while. Don't worry about it, man. Takes time. Takes time to make things look the way you want them to look. You know what I mean? That shirt, though. Oh, no. Din, new trading card. How did this happen? I look not ready. Okay, well, we're killing that. I mean, I guess I could go to... Look at this guy. Jesus. Is he okay? I'm just going to reactivate the camera. We'll go with that, and we'll see what happens. He's staring at the sub button, waiting for someone to click it. How did you know? Let me go to this, and we'll see what's happening here. So this looks really cool. The thing I was going to say is it's too dark. That was it. It's too dark. There's a lot going on here. Surfaces look pretty cool. Hello, darkness, my old friend. But it's still too dark. We'll just we'll do this, and you can see. So basically, where it's black, it's too dark. That information in here, there's nothing there that I can play with, if that makes sense. There's no, like, if I bring it up a little bit, yeah, see. So those areas are gone. And blue is too bright, right? But you don't have much blue either. So you want a little bit of that, almost starting to go into that range. And then the areas that are black, we want to just bring those up. And so what will also really help you is any of this dirtiness, the dirt that you got in here, getting that and just like giving it a color. That'll go a long way. And make sure that it's more representative in the roughness. But I mean, when we look at this, this is looking pretty cool. Be careful with how dirty you're making these surfaces, because it'll start to feel like concrete and not like a metal or a painted metal. Edge wear is maybe a little too consistent. I don't know. If we get some closer renders of it at some point when you're getting there, when you're getting to that final stage, please share. But yeah, I think what I would do is, if you want this, depending on the material type of this, I would keep the roughness pretty like level within itself as the overall material, and then take all of that and move it up and down in your value in order to get it where you want it. Yeah. It's cool though. I think your color placements are quite nice as well. There's not too much yellow everywhere. It's more about materials and defining and understanding what material is what, and really emphasizing those surfaces. Oh my God, the zoom. Yeah, there is a bit of a scale issue where you're not really sure the size of this thing. I think adding an element that gives us an understanding, like there's a little handle here. But if there was even just like built in like a few ladder steps on the side here, and then maybe like imagine what this is like when it's in its idle stance to be worked on. You sent me some renders. Oh, bro. Yes, you did. Yeah, see, there's a lot of normal information that's happening in here. You could really tone that down, and it'll just benefit the surfaces. This looks like it's metalness, but it's also painted. I would maybe remove the metalness and just let it be red paint. Getting a roughness difference between the paint and then the metal is going to be huge because you'll see it in the highlight that's on here. The wear that's happening from the paint to the metal under it is a little strange. It feels really soft. So watch out for that. Man, there's so much like little micro information going on in here. See, this info feels like it's tiling too low. Like that looks like a detail normal or a detail roughness. That's just tiling too low. So you get confused by the scale. I think when we see these, we start to understand the size of this a little bit because we see those on tanks all the time. But I'd get some ladders in place just so that we understand like what I was saying just a second ago. If it's in its like locked state, how does a person get on top without using a crane? There's got to be a way, right? And it's figuring out like exposed ladder systems that are built into the side that you climb up, and then you grab onto this handle, and then you swing up this way, and then now you're on this thing and you climb up further. You got to have that in order to, or something like that, in order to push the detail of understanding the scale. This area here feels really nice. But yeah. Yeah, I think there's too much. You're trying to do too much information on the surface, so it's becoming confusing on like if it's concrete or if it's painted metal or if is there like splattered oil on it? You know, there's a lot of stuff happening, so you end up not being sure of what is actually what you're actually seeing when it comes to the surface. Not everything will have to have normals either. Like these scratches, that doesn't need a normal map. It'll do the work for you, just getting the roughness values in line. Really cool though. Some elements not painted, I think, is a nice touch as well. Watch out for this problem. So I don't know if you place that there in Substance Painter, but you can see how close it is to the edge. This would be like a manufacturing red flag. You want to have that further in so there's room. See how there's room here? Get that room all the way around. It'll look more designed instead of like a accidental. It just looks like a manufacturing issue. Sick model for sure. But yeah, you're right that this starts reading like concrete the more closely you look at it. Paint's very simple. And what happens to the paint on top and how the paint gets removed, that's what tells you that it's paint. Like how it ages. But really cool. This is really shaping up, man. I'm gonna close some of these. There we go. Okay, we've got a few more. We've got 15 minutes. Let's make it happen. Just gonna open them here like this. Okay, so this is looking cool. It's a bit noisy. Work in progress. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about the color and the composition? So I find this image very intriguing. Very intriguing. You don't see stuff like this almost ever. It's a very interesting look and feel. I also love the panel lines that are following the tilt of the room. Is that a trash can? I'm looking for a trash can. Fly me to the moon. You need a trash can, man. It's imperative. So we're going to go to New City or Tesla Town. Where's Din City, man? We got to get Din City in there. Yeah, this is really cool. So compositionally, really love it. There's elements in here that help me understand the scale, which is like these rope details, for example. Really, really nice. I feel like there's supposed to be seats somewhere else. Like we got seating back here. Like I would look at what details you usually see in the airport, as also just to make sense of like where things are at. These are definitely like escalators down. And if by plane you mean rockets, yes, please. So there's maybe, so we've got green and this like kind of like coppery looking material, and then like this blackish, and then concrete. So that's really cool. It's a bit noisy. I don't know if it's because, is this path tracing? Q lines? Oh man, that'll ruin any image. Let's see what we can do here. So I would explore colors a little bit more, but overall I really like it. So right now you've kind of got some like greens, some really intense greens, and then some like kind of like marbly green. Let's just like move this around real quick. I mean, it could be interesting. Just want to see. I'm not even going to try and make this perfect. I don't know. Let's see. Do something like that. I guess that would reflect on this a little bit, right? So you'd see a little bit of the... Then we can take this layer and just kind of move that around. Because I mean, you could go to that green route, couldn't you? Cycles? No way. Dude, that's awesome. But yeah, you can see like just bringing in another color I think would be really interesting. Even if it was like, oh, this is not going to work if I do this. But imagine if it was like a black fabric. Kind of interesting. I think making it look like the couches is working pretty well. But compositionally, extremely strong. I think if I had to like react compositionally at all, it's this tangent line on the side here. Like this frame is so close to the edge. Like if you could just have the camera look a little bit more to the right, because you don't necessarily need any of this information over here. And I would argue that you don't even need, like you could use, where are we at here? You could just, you know, do this, like get rid of all that stuff back there. Oh, I'm doing a great job of this. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I don't know if you need all that stuff here. Beautiful. Oh my God, I'm making it so much better. Oh God, I'm sorry. Yeah, anyways, don't look over there. It's fine. By trimming that edge off and bringing it back over here, I think compositionally it'll be stronger. It'll be stronger for it. I see. I didn't even know that plant was there. Maybe some seating here or something on the side. But I'm speaking like literally going maybe about that much further. It'd be better if someone just puked on this pipe. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This is exactly why I did it on a different layer. I think what we... oh my God. I think what you actually want to do, or what I wanted to do, was just get rid of these. Because they're distracting. And they affect the composition. But then I got too crazy. Too much power, you know what I mean? I just went nuts. Because see, now that you go back here, now you don't have to look over there. It's just part of the scene. You know? And then we look at this and we figure out like, okay, what other colors could you bring in here? And I think that could go my God, guys, I'm losing it. I'm out of control. I think those colors go a long way. It just needs a little bit of something else. I just don't know what color. But overall, amazing scene. I don't have much else to say about it. I need to see it with less noise and more like refined, like high res render. I mean, this looks like it's a high res render. I just don't see it because there's so much noise going on right now. But really, really strong. This will get a lot of attention, I think. I'm going to quit ruining it now. So this looks cool. Venodium. So what I would say, so this is really cool. I need to know if there's sound. Hang on. There is sound. So, you know, it's like a nice, chill, jazzy music. Here, some lo-fi. So these details are really nice. What I would say, to bring it over the top, I don't know if that's the type of feedback you're wanting. Let's see. Curious on how to make this look more realistic. Played around with the contrast a bunch, but it looks washed out quickly. So a lot of the times reality doesn't have a lot of contrast. Like, maybe I can grab, like, see this image up here versus down here? This image, the shadows are far less dark, whereas here they're quite dark. That contrast difference is like the difference between hyperreal or authored versus a more natural kind of visual. I think the only other thing I could probably say on it is maybe like stuff getting brighter as it gets further away. Maybe it gets darker so that you don't really notice it, because everything seems like it's perfectly lit. The other thing I would do is maybe have the sound of the city in the background of the video, and then have just standard characters that you can find in Unreal Marketplace walking over the vent, just so that you see shadows of people going over. I think that would go a long way. Imagine if like a cigarette butt fell through the thing and was just sitting there smoking. Like just those little details to kind of remind you what you're looking at. The other thing I wanted to say was compositionally, where are we at here? When you look at this shot here, plant-wise, they're all relatively the same length on this side, but there's nothing on this side. So I'm assuming this must be against a building, and this side never gets direct light or something. But I would kind of try and, in the future, vary the size at which you move those things around. Like, Maybe the plant here is much shorter, half the height of this one. Maybe there's one or two over here. Maybe not as healthy, but you know. Oh man, a coin falling through, that'd be. It does feel a bit oversaturated. That's why I was like, when you look at this one, it feels a little bit more natural. If we go into here, you can see the saturation difference on this scene versus this one. Not to compare them or anything, but just pushing the saturation down starts to bring you back to a bit of a realistic feeling. What you could do is use that to your advantage, where you desaturate to a more realistic feeling, and then just mask that out in spots where you want the color to really pop. So like maybe right here, boom. And then the rest is kind of like toned down, right? And that's more of like a stylistic call. But this, I mean, it's really cool. It's a cool idea for a space that you don't ever really see. Yeah, super nice. I don't have too much else to add to this, but I see that your light rays are being done through like a shader. So I think if you had characters walking over, because you're using lumen, you should be able to get this effect for real. So that might be something to look into in the future. But yeah, contrast. Be careful with contrast. Be careful with saturation. And maybe adding a few elements in there that go, hey, I'm a scene in a real location. Cigarette butts, a coin that's fallen down there, any of those elements. Maybe the darker elements of these stems on the side here are too dark as well. I think seeing this scene unlit would give us a lot of answers. We can see like where your values are at. Pretty cool though. Nice idea. I like it. I like it. Okay, last one. Nick, buddy. Keys and some fingers trying to reach for them. Oh my god, Jade, next level. So Nick, buddy. This is looking cool. I don't know if, is this this one here? Yeah. Bro, this feels really nice. So what I would say, first of all, I'm going to like this because I really like the vibe of it. I think you should go nuts with the sand. So right now you got sand that's like built up in here. If you could go back to it, I would put that sand all out here and like have it mix around with the ground. But this looks really cool. I think it's suffering a bit from like not being able to be in strong light. So you're only getting like the benefit at certain angles, like from above or from back here, it almost looks unlit. These areas maybe get a little too dark. It could probably just, yeah, see here, it feels really strange lighting wise. I don't think you need this last image here. Yeah, I'm trying to think what you could do to push it. Like if we grab this image, this will be the last one, by the way. Let's see if we can. So if we grab this image, let's play around with the levels a little bit, see where things are at. So we are getting a little bit of a washed out feel, just because washed out in the other direction, not like washed out bright, washed out like mid to dark. And you can see it's because you're not using a lot of the range here. So if we bring this up, then you're like, oh wow, it's like really kind of popping. And you can, again, you can see it if we draw the levels filter on top. You can see you get these areas that are really dark. And so if we go and we bring in those levels and bring that up, you start to get the blue is starting to come in. So I want to keep that back a little bit. And then we probably need to try and bring the midtones up a little bit. And then like crush the lowest like black pixels to be more of like a gray. Hit okay on that. And you can see now we're seeing so much more. And now I think it's actually okay. Doesn't feel too dark. Maybe it can be more contrasty. But yeah, and if you still want a little bit of that on the edges, you can always just kind of tap the corners with the too dark, too light, and back and forth. It's tough, man. The other thing too is like, because you have the rays in the background's trying to come up in brightness with the object. So it becomes really difficult to separate that out. Let me see if I can, let's see if this will grab it. That's what I'm talking about. We're back. We're back. Okay, so let's grab that. We'll bring that up top. And we'll pull it even more forward, which feels a little strange. We'll kick that off on the side there. It's weird that there's lighting here, like right here. I think there's too many lights trying to light this thing. Because generally everything looks pretty good. It needs a dark side. Does that make sense? It needs a dark side. A true dark side. I'm gonna just, let's see here. Wow, that's way darker than I thought it was. We screwed up, guys. But yeah, you can see what we're saying, right? Maybe this is just, so you just want to understand where the form of the object. You can see what I'm doing, or what I'm trying to do, at least. Seeing like this, see how bright this side is? That does not need to be there. So it just needs some directionality. Yeah, now it separates itself from the background, right? Now you can see how much it feels weirdly lit. Like I wouldn't even have this. This should all be dark as well. Really cool though. If you wanted anything back here, you could do that as well with this. Oh, this is not going to select anything. There we go. Cool. Cool. I'm just going to try and grab something here. Nice. Thank you. You could bring that up. What am I doing here? This element could come up a little bit. See, we don't have much to play with, so it's looking a little funny, a little ghostly. But you get a little bit of bounce coming in from whatever is like all the bounce light from the ground can illuminate from below. But yeah, this will get it to pop a bit more. And of course, I'm doing like a shoddy paint job. I think if you were to just shop this up a bit or bring it into, just get it back in Unreal and remove some of the lights that are filling the dark side of it, and you'll be in a really good spot. Generally speaking, though, pretty sick. Pretty sick. Really nice. Your shoddy paint jobs are always great, though. Thanks, man. All right, it's 10:08. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. I gotta run away. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Let me get some tunes on here. I will try to have a good birthday. I think we're just gonna be chilling around the apartment because we're both kind of sick. And we are hiring environment artists now. Hee hee. Where are you at, sir? I'm curious. Yeah, if you like the stream, please follow. We have a Discord as well. We're quite active in there. I like to think of us as more of like a family, so we're all just working together to help each other get better. Norway, nice. Cool. Well, if you have openings, post them on the jobs board in our Discord. But I'm pretty busy with all the stuff I'm doing, so I'm probably not going anywhere. But cool. Thank you again, guys. I'll see you Sunday, I think. We'll be working on my scene, trying to get that all shored up. There's still a lot to do. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. Have a good evening. See you guys. Oh yeah, thank you for the birthday wishes.